Chapter 4. Evil Evie's Evil Deal. Pilk kept running and didn't stop until he was well out of sight of Toother, and then he leant against the trunk of a shady tree to catch his breath. "Wow," he said to no one but himself. "I have no idea how I got out of that one, at least without being bashed senseless. I suppose I have to count myself lucky that Toother isn't the sharpest tool in the box." He gathered up his spear and his bag, and he set off in the direction of what he thought was the lagoon. But after some time he began to realise that he couldn't see the markers that he had left to guide his way. "That's strange," Pilk said. "I'm sure I'm on the right path, but I can't see the markers anywhere. I don't know anyone else who comes this deep into the forest, apart from myself and Fiona, and maybe Nina back when she was younger. I don't imagine anyone could have taken them, surely. What would be the point of that? No, silly idea." All of a sudden, there was a crashing noise, and then a swoosh, and finally a ba-doing. Pilk found himself upside down, painfully swinging from the branch of a tree. "Help!" he cried. "I'm caught in a bear trap or something. Help! Someone get me out of this!" Just then, Pilk heard a giggle. Well, more of a cackle, really. He looked about to see if he could see where the cackling was coming from. But hanging upside down by your leg from a tree doesn't make that very easy. "Ooey, Pilky!" said a high-pitched, screechy voice that sounded like a cat choking on a fur ball. "Has a little fly got itself caught in Evie's spider trap?" "Oh no, I know that voice," Pilk groaned. "Not evil Evie. Not now. Not today. Not after Toother and the angry ape. This is not turning out to be a good day after all." Let me tell you about Evie. Evie was evil. Really evil. Everyone called her Evil Evie. She certainly made a good job of living down to that name. Evie was a thin, pasty young girl with a permanent evil expression on her face, like she was always thinking up the next evil thing that she could do. Hey, let's do an experiment. Try and think of the most evil person that you know. I don't mean in history. I mean out of all the people that you actually know, who is the worst and the most evil? Have you thought of someone? Well, let me tell you something. Evie was worse. No competition. She was nasty. She was cruel. She was evil. She had a nasty streak and a black heart and an evil mind. Her only interest seemed to be in hurting things or other people. Evie was the type of person who would take a dummy out of the mouth of a baby just to hear it cry. Now, that's not nice, is it? She was the type of person who would put 3 wildcats in the same bag just to see them fight. Now, that's really horrible. And she was the type of person that if she heard a sweet little baby bird twittering in the trees, she would pull out her catapult, the one that she kept for just such occasions, and she would keep on firing until she made sure that she knocked the poor baby birds out of the tree. Now admit it, that's just plain evil. Do you know anyone as bad as that? I certainly don't. And if I did, I wouldn't want to be their friend. And that was part of the problem. Evie had no friends. It just wasn't worth the bother. If you heard Evie's voice, then you knew that the next thing that was going to happen you'd feel a stinging pain in your arm or your back or your neck, because Evie would have catapulted something sharp and nasty at you, just to please her evil satisfaction. That's why everybody steered clear of evil Evie. She could make your life a misery. Oh, come on, let me down, Evie, Pilk cried. I was just going about my business. And why do you even have a trap here? Ah, cooed Evie. Does Pilky want to get out of Evie's little trapsy-wapsy? I find it comes in useful for catching little animals that I can play with. You should have watched where you were going. I was watching where I was going, he shouted, but someone removed my markers. I don't suppose that was you by any chance. Oh, is that what they were? Evie said, unconvincingly. Were those funny little sticks yours? I thought they cluttered up the place, and I thought I would tidy them up, so I threw them in the river. Pilk knew that Evil Evie knew exactly what she was doing. She was just being evil. Yet again. Look, Evie, Pilk said, in more soothing tones. We're both busy people. I've got things to do, and I'm sure you have as well. Pilk was quite aware that Evie probably had nothing better to do than being horrid, but he thought he would try and appeal to her better nature. Not very confident that she actually had a better nature. Look, if you set me free, I'll be on my way and out of your hair, he said. Evie's hair was all straggly and matted like a rotting haystack. But I'm not sure I want to set you free, Evie smirked. It's much more fun watching you hanging from a tree. You make great target practice for me, and my catapult. Pilk groaned inwardly. Oh, I'm in a proper fix now. I really have to think my way out of this one. Come on, brain, don't let me down now. And he thumped his head where he imagined his brain was. Then it suddenly dawned on him. Toofer! He had managed to escape Toofer by offering something that he couldn't resist, food. And he thought what worked for Toofer might work for Evie as well, despite their obvious difference in brain sizes. Well, how about we do a bargain? Pilk suggested hopefully. I know where to get delicious fruit, and if you set me free, I'll get one for you. Pilk thought it was better not to mention the fact that he already had a yellow fruit in his bag. Evie stood ruminating on the idea, and then cackled the most shrieking cackle that you've ever heard in your life, scaring the birds out of the trees. I don't like fruit, she shrieked. Food doesn't bother me. People give me food just to keep me away. I can get anything I want at any time, just by waving my catapult at them. Oh, crikey. Pilk realised that the toofer trick might not work in this situation. Not with Evie. This is trickier than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to need a completely different approach. And then he hit on a new plan. Yes, he tried again. But the thing about this fruit is it's all squishy and mulchy, and it makes a lovely splattering sound when you throw it at someone. He had no clue where that idea had come from, but then he remembered that it was something that he and Fiona had had great fun with, throwing slushy fruit at each other when they'd been foraging in the forest together. I like my catapult, Evie said. It's much more painful. Pilk felt that he was beginning to lose this battle, but he decided to keep on. Yes, that's true, but yellow fruit can be disgustingly smelly and sticky when it's really rotten, and it's impossible to wash off, and it attracts flies and wasps for days after. It's a gift that keeps giving, if you like. Pilk decided he might as well lay it on as thick as he could, and he actually made quite a good job of putting himself in the mind of someone evil. I have to admit, it is interesting, said Evie. And where exactly is this fruit? Now, that's the thing, you see, Pilk said, jumping on the question. I would tell you which way to go, but there are no markers, are there? So, if you like, I don't mind putting my life in danger again and going to get one for you. But I can't, of course. Well, not unless you set me free. Oh, right. So, you'll get one for me if I set you free, Evie repeated the suggestion out loud.
But how do I know you're going to come back?
I don't have a choice, Pilk told her. I've got to get one for two, along with yours, if I want to be free. It's all getting a bit complicated, to be honest. I think I might have to write it down.
I could have a lot of fun if I left you right where you are,
she said, creepily.
But it might be interesting to try something different and new.
Pilk knew that Evie meant a different way of torturing somebody, and he felt a little bit guilty for having given her the idea. But the name of the game was survival, and that was something that he was getting better at. So, is it a deal then? Pilk asked.
Only if you make sure that it's really rotten, stinking fruit, she said.
Oh, don't worry about that, Pilk replied. I'll make sure it's the grossest, most smelly fruit in the whole forest. You'll see the flies buzzing around and you'll smell me coming.
Oh, all right, get on with it,
she said, and she pulled out a knife and cut the rope, and Pilk fell to the ground in a heap. Oh, thanks, Evie, Pilk said, rubbing his ankle, which had gone completely numb from the rope. I promise I won't let you down.
I know you won't, said Evil Evie, because if you do, I will track you down and make your life a total misery. You know I can.
Pilk gulped, and he tried not to imagine the many ways that Evie could make that come true. Oh, right you are then. I'd better be off, he said. Where shall I find you?
Oh, don't worry,
she said threateningly.
I will find you.
Pilk shuddered, and he got to his feet, and he limped off into the forest, thanking his lucky stars that he'd managed to get out of another tight spot in one piece. This is getting ridiculous, he mumbled to himself. I seem to be the fruit delivery guy for half the tribe. If I get through this day without getting bashed or shot to pieces, then I think I might stay in bed a little bit longer tomorrow. And he limped on, thinking his day couldn't get any worse.